Hi, welcome back to Bognor Regis, Chris's Engage. Where do I start now? Well, first of all, apologies for the last video where there was far too much light in the picture itself, due to the bungalow being on the coast, facing south. Even though I've got blinds up, sun comes through here, so I've got to get thicker curtains if I want to start filming in here on a bright summer's day. But today is wet. First one, it's nice and cool, thank goodness. The other thing I want to apologise for is during the chat last week, I said it was a 9-inch ply. I meant 9mm ply. Funny enough, no one picked up on that, but there you are. Furthermore, thank you to all my new subscribers. Thank you very much. Now, good news is I have saved the money for my big Velux window for the roof. Bad news is I'm still on furlough. I still don't know whether I've got a job, and I'm not prepared to spend all that money on a window when I might need it looking for another job. So that's going to hang fire for the time being. So Metcalf kits, that's what this is all about. So I'm going to show you what I've got on the table here. It'll be a blast from the past, and explain a bit more what I'm going to do and where I'm up to. Cheers. As you can see, this is my workplace. It's basically a little room that we added to the living room, which I call my study. It's just a man cave, whatever you want. So on the table here, purchased over 30 years ago, possibly 35, from what was then the engine shed at South Burstead, Bognor Regis, were a number of Graham Farish buildings, and I have not taken them out of the box for over 30 odd years. And as you can see, they was virtually as good as the day I purchased them. Did make me giggle. The railway station here, I purchased that for £2.10. And the only thing that's come wrong with them was the chimneys have unfolded a bit, but they're not too bad. I think they're quite good. Over here on the left is an engine shed, £2.65. There you are. Nothing on the back, 2 doors on the front, and actually that was about as far as I got. And then of course here I had a good shed, which I never got round to doing. Now you can see it's a plastic base. You can cut the doors out on the sides where it's thinner, or on the ends, and then you simply stick these to the sides. I think it's quite a good scheme, and I don't think I've ever seen them in a layout on YouTube. Whether I'll use them or not, I don't know, but they're very likely to go back in the box for another 35 years. Right, so we're going to talk about Metcalfe. Now, these are the first Metcalf buildings I've ever built. I don't know what you think of them, but they're quite good. Curtains in the front. I cheated on the back. I didn't bother putting any curtains in, but it's still complete. And although I find them quite time consuming, I did find them quite enjoyable. Now I've only made one mistake. I don't know if you can see it, but I bought a couple of Sharpies pens to colour in the corners and the white bits that show on the building. Now I didn't realise that the two I bought were metallic, and hence, if you see on here, the top there is quite shiny. I've still got to put the chimney stacks on, but that's a later job. But it's quite shiny, and the side's not too bad. But if anyone knows what Sharpie pen, what type of pen, and what colour I can get to match the roof and the red brick, because most of what I'll be building will be those colours. Certainly red brick, because that's predominant in this area of Sussex. But yeah, I enjoyed them. I didn't find them difficult. Fiddly, but not difficult. But yeah, quite enjoyable. Now, when I built these, they are to match buildings that surround the railway in the area. And the difference being is that the buildings in the street opposite, the doors are either side, with the 2 windows in the centre. And I thought, God, it's going to be a lot of mucking about, and I showed the wife, and she said, well, what about rule 1? which took me back a bit. And she said, yeah, it's your railway. And I thought, yeah, we're going to be concentrating on the railway station, not on the buildings around the outside. If I can get something very similar to match, then that would be ideal. So that's how they're staying. And there'll be quite a few of these going along. There's one row by the side of the railway station where it's round doors, 18 of them in a long terrace. So I'm going to be building them. The doors again will be on the wrong place. They should be on the outside, but they're not. They're this configuration. It does mean that I will have to buy the fronts and then put them onto these in order to build a long row. It will be a little bit expensive, but it's not going to cost a lot more really, and I'm quite sure I can use the rest of the stuff. But then again, that's rule one for you. So that's what I've got to do in the meantime. I'm very fortunate where I live, just down the road in Ford. I've got Gauge Master, which is also the engine shed. Now the engine shed, as I said earlier, is where I first purchased my items from, down in South Bursted. Then they amalgamated with Gauge Master and moved to Ford. And like I said, it's just down the road. I'm also very lucky that in Bognor itself I have Squire's Model and Craft Tools, which everyone seems to buy from. I was under the impression there were quite a few of their stores, but they're not. It's just the one. Now until they open, which I believe is on the 15th of this month, I can't do any more building because I need a lot more cardboard sheets, windows, etc. And so they'll be my first port of call, providing I'm not back at work by that period. But yeah, quite lucky really having Squires just down the road. Now the other thing as well is I'm going to show you how I've been progressing at the moment regarding lack of materials on the engine shed. Now on my screen is Bognor Regis railway engine shed. And as you can see, it's a double entry, and just to the left is the water tower. Rather an unusual construction, but very similar to one of my colleagues who's building his railway. Now, having looked at this picture, all I've got to go on is very old photos, a few basic measurements, but not a lot to really go on. So having watched all the others on YouTube, and I'll name a few, that's Elvan Home, Stephen, Calgorn Hall, which is Paul, Bexhill West, which is James, and David Hyde's Railway. They build first of all using sketch plans, and I wondered why do they need to do that, and having watched and learned, it's the only way to go. So if you pan down here, you'll see my attempt. Now I'm going to build it out of Metcalfe, and this is the side to the double track engine shed with Metcalfe, and that's what I'm going to use. And as you can see, I've used that as a point of reference. Now the front is here, and I'll explain a bit more about this in a minute. Right, the roof on the Metcalf kit is long ways. On the original, it's not, it's sideways with 6 roof spans. Now the hardest part I'm going to have to do is this fancy little brickwork above. Shouldn't be too difficult. Now working from old pictures does have its problems. So you've got the entrance here to the engine shed. Now either side you've got your pillars, centre pillar there where the gates hang off, sorry, doors hang off, and over the top you've got an area for the chimney, a funnel, whatever. Now this is the bit I don't understand here and there. It's is it brickwork or is it just a sheet of iron? When you pan back it does look like brickwork, but it just doesn't seem right. So if anyone knows what it could be, that would be a great assistance. Some of the other pictures I've got to work with You've seen that one already, and like I said, it shows you the brickwork just there. Another one, much the same, just give you a bit more of the houses in the background. Old carriage there, coal workings, the old signal box, which I will have on the layout, but it won't be used. The new one will be on my layout back up here. I'm just going to take a bit of license and say it's in the process of being knocked down. Now, a nice colour one here, so it gives me a good idea of the colour of the water tower. Now, what I like about this one, to get my measurements, I know they're not exact, but you can see where they've knocked the old engine shed down. You can see the outline of where the brick is, so from that I've been able to work out how long that section is where the brickwork comes. And also that on the offices that were along here, there's a chimney stack just there as well. Now, this was taken in 1970 when just prior to being knocked down. It's a view from the opposite side of the water tower, so it gives me an idea of the layout, where the windows are, and it shows you the offices that were along there. And on some of the plans it shows you the old bicycle racks on the front there. And last but not least, the old Olbies goods yard, sorry, not goods yards, builders merchants, wood merchants, which eventually became covers, but in the process of being converting, you've still got what's left of the old water tower there, and the offices that are along there. In the background you can see Fitzfleet House, the only tower block we've got in Bognor, and of course the railway station itself. So like I said, having seen them do sketch plans, it just makes it so much easier. So as you can see, there's the side for the Metcalf Kit. I'll take this away here, and then you can see the roofs with the fancy little brickwork, which is exactly what I've got just here. Now, how I'm going to do that, I've got a rough idea how I'm going to do it, but I think it's going to be a little bit fiddly, but we'll show you that in the next one when I start building it. And then of course you can see the height of the water tower behind. Now, if I show you the next page I've done, that's a top view from the engine shed. Now, the beauty of Metcalf kits, which I really like, is that they do prints to show you the area that it actually covers. Now of course the roof on this goes that way, and mine will be going across. But it gives you a rough idea of how big it is when it's on the layout, which is good to work from. And then finally a few more. Now as you can see, that's the entrance now, with the roofs going across that way. So that gives you the entrance, and it's ideal for 2 trains going in, even with a central pillar. Like I said, this area up here in those there, I don't know what they would have been. I'd very like to do it in brickwork, but if anyone knows different, please say. Now this is the office. So the offices would have been on the side there, and that's the water tower. Again, in direct measurements to what I've got on here. So there you are. As you can see, it's slightly higher. In this section here, it's slightly higher. And the brickwork comes out where the chimney would have been. But you can see roughly, you know, that's that bit there. Gives you a bit more idea of what it's going to look like. And of course that's an end view. No window, but a slight brick alcove or whatever you call it. But yeah, doing these just makes it so much easier. And I'll be doing the same to the goods shed when I get to that stage. Right, so that's my update as yet. Slowly getting there. I've not gone away. So the next stage I'll start building what I can on the engine shed. One thing I didn't show you, very remiss of me. Now I picked this up a little while ago, ratio or ratio, however you want to pronounce it, on the trackside series, but it's the water tower. Now there's my water tower there. Now I reckon that 2/3 of this is the exact size of the water tower, sloped, nice shaped roof which I can use, and I reckon if I cut that back, sand it down a little bit so it's plain like this one here, yeah, I think that would be ideal for the water tower. But this section here, I can make that myself, and that's what I propose to do. So that's where I'm at. So until Squires open, I can't do a great deal. I will do a little bit of progress on the engine shed, and then the next video will show you the engine shed complete, possibly a few little stages building up to that moment, and then of course I'll move from there to the goods shed,